Good afternoon, everyone. It's actually a sunny day today in Binghamton, New York. We don't get a lot of them in the winter, but it's beautiful out. Tom walked the dog. I didn't get a chance to get out with the dog today, but we are enjoying 2020 so far. This is Yvonne DeVita. This is Smart Women Conversations. And today with my guest, welcome Pamela Wilson.
I'm so happy to be here.
We are going to talk about content. So ladies, when you hear the word content or you think about creating content because you want to build a website, you want to do business online, do you get a little scared? Do you get a little worried? Do you get a little like, I don't know how to do that. I don't even know what it is. Well, we're going to talk about that today. And I think we're going to help you get some real solid advice and put your feet on the ground and get going for 2020. Pamela Wilson, right?
Yes, I can't wait. I cannot wait. This is one of my favorite topics. So
Excellent.
We're going to demystify the whole thing so it doesn't confuse you and so it feels less daunting. That's what I'm excited to do.
And let me tell you a little bit about Pamela. First of all, Pamela and I are friends from quite a long time ago.
Oof,
and
way back.
You know, we'll put it out there. She spoke at BlogPaws. Now, everyone knows, Pamela, that I have a lot of BlogPaws people on, but that's just because they're great people. BlogPaws was great.
100% concur with that.
And so here, this is, I am so fascinated by Pamela's story on her site. So this is from Pamela's About page. Who is Pamela Wilson really? And I want people to pay attention because this is one of the things I like to talk about is how to make a good about page. And by the way, Pamela, I've written about that in an ebook recently, and I'm quoting, you are mentioned.
Oh, cool.
Pamela Wilson lives in Nashville, Tennessee. So next time I visit my nephew, I will go visit Pamela. He lives very close to Nashville. She's a woman in midlife who dares herself to try new things and to keep growing year after year. She loves serving people in mid-career as a devoted business coach and online educator. Her perspective is different because she arrived late in life to the online business world and brought her offline business experience to the table. She's published 3 books. After thinking she wasn't a writer,
yes,
we'll talk about those books, has spoken on stages around the US after thinking she was too petrified to do public speaking, and has delivered hundreds of live presentations to thousands of online learners after thinking she could never present live on the internet.
Very true.
Yeah, you know, so that try new things and keep growing things so far, it's good for her. Here are some of the top questions that she says people have asked her. How long did it take your online business to get traction? What's the fastest way to grow my email list? How do you know what to focus on first? And Pamela, I noticed in your most recent blog post the word focus, and focus is my word for the year.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that
cool.
serendipity?
Yes.
How do you get over the discomfort of putting yourself out there? Huge, very huge. Mm-hmm. And then, where do you find ideas for the content and courses you create? Here are some things that most people don't know about Pamela. She also speaks, reads, and writes in Spanish like a native. She lived in South America. Did I know that? Did you ever tell us that?
It is not something I talk about that much. It's a big part of who I am, but I think when you get to our stage in life, to a certain extent, you have to edit to a certain extent and just decide like what piece of me am I going to put at the forefront?
Yes.
Otherwise, because you have lived, at least 7 of your 9 lives, and so have I, right? And if you talk about all of them, you end up presenting this persona that's a little confusing. It's like, right. What is this person about, right? So I normally edit that. I mean, if people know me personally, they may find that out about me, and because it's not something I'm using publicly in my business right
Mm-hmm.
now. But I read, people hear me speak Spanish and they wonder what Latin American country I'm from. They're like, I
Yes.
can't quite place the
Yes.
accent, but she's from somewhere in Latin America.
That's, oh, that is so great. Well, I
Yeah.
found that really interesting also. I do not speak a second language, so I'm jealous. Or people also didn't know that Pamela is one of the first people in her group of friends to use online dating to find a husband.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Worked great.
Gosh, see, trying new things, folks, it works. So I want to just end here talking about her bio and her story, that she's determined to show up as the best version of herself because she wants people in her age group to see that you can build an online business you love while feeling clear and confident every step of the way. And Pamela, if anyone can do it, you can do it.
Thank you so much. I really am bound and determined because I've seen so many people like us who are very accomplished at this point in their lives. They've got career accomplishments, you know, career wins and professional wins and business wins. And then they try to transfer that to the online space and they just end up feeling completely confused. Um, and it's a shame because it's not for lack of trying and it's not for lack of, you know, innate smarts. These are people who
Right,
are smart, right?
right.
So it's just the online space is very confusing. And I know we're going to talk about content, but content actually is part of the problem. I think we are given so much content all at once. uh, It's kind of left to us to sort through what we actually need at any given time.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do with my business now, is to help people to identify what stage of business growth they're in so that they can really focus on what they need right now and basically ignore the rest. It eliminates a lot of confusion.
This is so huge, and honestly, in the last few weeks, in December, of course, because of family time and holidays, I did take a lot of time off. I didn't get as much done, and I didn't mean to get as much done.
Right.
But I said to myself, you need to focus, Yvonne. You need to start 2020 with a focus, and I've been doing that, and I'm so excited because when I read your blog post that talks about focus, I thought, well, if Pamela says it's a good idea, it must be a good idea. But part of what I think is happening also, and tell me if you see this, is that even people who have used or been on the internet and had a business, but kind of let it slide or went off and did something else, now they're coming back. They're finding out, whoa, what happened? In some of the circles I'm in, we talk about it used to be so easy. Not
Yeah.
easy anymore.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is just that there is a volume of content out there right now. And I think it's harder to stand out than it used to be in the past. But I mean, so here's the thing, in the business world and in life in general, it's like there is reality. And the sooner you accept that reality and figure out how you can work that reality and leverage it, the better, right? So the reality is, yes, it's a little harder to stand out. But the at the same time, the concurrent reality is that is going to cause a lot of people to throw in the towel before they even start. And knowing that creating better content will actually help you to rise to the top, then you can focus on that. Just focus on becoming more skilled as a content creator and and we can talk about this, but adding things like multimedia, adding, more images to your posts, adding research, things like that, just making them a little meatier.
I love that one of the free courses that you offered that I took was about images. And
Yes.
I am woefully bad at it. And I only know that because my daughter Chloe tells me
Haha,
that
that's funny.
it is funny. She'll say, Mom, get rid of that image. You better fix it. And I'm like, what's wrong with it? I like it. It's nice. No, it isn't. And the issue is, maybe I don't have the eye for it, but I love that you taught me how to use templates,
Yeah.
how to look at my branding colors, how to be more focused again on, I can create the content other than images. I should not let the images hold me back. I should find the easiest way to create them or have someone else do it. But, you know, to me, that's a really important thing that people overlook, especially newbies who think they have to do it all.
Right, exactly. Right. And spending some time figuring out how you're going to express your brand using images is really important, whether you're doing them yourself or having someone else help you. Just expressing your brand consistently through every image you create. And it's a matter of making some decisions up front. What fonts am I going to use? What colors am I going to use? What image style am I going for? And then just implementing. Then, you know, I always tell people, then you need to be boringly consistent with every image you create. They should all look visually related in a perfect
Wow,
world. Yeah.
boring. We can be,
Aim for
that's what
boring.
I'm afraid of, but
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah. Oh,
Holy
absolutely. I mean,
cow.
obviously the image needs to the photo you choose shouldn't be boring.
No, it shouldn't.
But and what I mean, I'm being a little facetious, but what I'm saying is you want to be boringly consistent. So you choose a couple of fonts, you choose a few brand colors, and then you are just very consistent about creating everything with those brand colors and those brand fonts. And here it is more challenging than you might think, because you see people doing these new things like right now, top of 2020, the big thing is gradients. Gradients are flat design was all the rage a few years ago, and now everything is a gradient. It's a colored gradient, which is great. But if you have been using flat color and then suddenly you start using gradients all over, you're kind of going off brand, right? But and that's where I'm saying you kind of have to stick to a style and be very consistent, even though you might see, you know, flashy graphic effects and feel like you need to use them because everyone else is using them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that fear of missing out thing. Let's talk about your books. Now, I have this book, which, everyone knows that I put tabs and things in all of my books because it's important. Pamela, I even,
That's
color the
awesome.
inside, which I never did it was like when I started doing this, Tom, actually, my husband, Tom, taught me that because I felt like I was defacing my books. But in the end, this is a business book. This is a tool.
Yes.
It's not
right.
It's a tool
I
for
feel
me.
like people should think of it like a workbook.
Yeah.
You know, when they used to pass out workbooks to us in school, they didn't say, now don't mark your workbook. It's like, no, mark your workbook. You're trying to get this knowledge into your brain. So mark it up.
So tell us about you. I actually think I have the other one also, but I don't have it on hand.
All right. I have them both here because,
Excellent.
be prepared, right? So this is the first one. It's Master Content Marketing.
Yes. And I know
I'll tell you who this is for. Master Content Marketing is for people who want to use content marketing and honestly just don't even know where to start. They don't know how to come up with ideas for it. They don't know how to structure the content once they have the idea.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to just get it produced, and kind of, because here's the thing, it's like a new thing that you're doing in your business and you're already doing these other things. So you have to figure out, like, how am I going to weave that into everything else I'm doing, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what master content marketing is for you, if that's your situation. And then master content strategy, which is the one that you just showed, is for people who already have an idea how to create content, and now they're trying to be strategic about how they use it. So they're trying to figure out how to repurpose it. They're also trying to use content marketing on their website as their website grows, because the way you use content on your site is very different in the early years than the way you use it after you already have hundreds of blog posts or hundreds of podcast episodes or hundreds of vlogs, right, on your website. You just do things differently when you already have this huge bank of content. So that's what master content strategy is about. It's about how to use it strategically so that you're really getting the most out of every single thing you create.
I want to talk about the word strategy. It's a word that I have stumbled with as a strategy as opposed to tactics. And so for whatever reason, my brain does not want to understand the difference between the two. So can you talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. So strategy is more like the overarching vision that you have. It's sort of like if I say, what is your big strategy for 2020 in terms of your marketing? And you say, well, I'm going to be really working hard on my YouTube channel. And my strategy is to work with video to try to build a community around I'm making this up, Yvonne.
Yes,
but,
I know. But yes.
I'm trying to build a community around my business using video. That's my big strategy. And then I say, okay, well, what are your tactics? And you say, well, I'm going to produce a weekly show. And along with that show, I'm going to do these other things. And this is how I'm going to promote it. So the strategy is kind of the big vision. And then the tactics are more like your to-do list. Like, this is how I'm going to implement that big vision.
Okay, so here's what I want to accomplish. And here's how I'm going to accomplish it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's how I see it. I mean, people may have different ideas about what those words mean, but strategy to me is the big vision for what you're going to do in that arena. So master content strategy is really about using content marketing strategically so that you are hitting your business goals with the content marketing you're creating.
So, excuse me, it would be great to have both books. And
they're meant to go together, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote the second one because there are some people who are like, I don't need to know how to create content. Like, I've been doing it for 5 years. But at this point I have a ton of content. What am I supposed to be doing with it? You know what I mean? So I wrote the second one as a complement to the first. But yeah, if you are starting out from the very beginning, I do think it's smart to have both. It's a very economical investment in your business. I mean,
absolutely.
Right? For $30, you'll kind of have the whole
absolutely
package.
Well, and then so let's move on then to finding ideas to create courses.
Yes.
And that's something I know a lot of people want to do. I do recommend that the women I work with do that because they have more going for them than first of all they recognize, so we have to work on the confidence level, but teaching webinars and having courses or ebooks that can teach, this is a really great way to serve your audience.
Yes.
It isn't, people think it's serving themselves. Well, let's talk about how it serves the audience. Where do they get the ideas for these things?
Honestly, the best place to get them is from your audience, the audience itself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and it kind of comes back to content marketing, actually, because if you are producing content around a specific topic, if you do it the right way, you're going to gather a community of people around that topic, a community of people who have demonstrated interest in that topic. So when you have that pretty cohesive community where they have a common interest, oftentimes they will tell you what they're confused about by the comments they leave on the content you produce, by maybe the way they interact with you on social media, the things they're asking you questions about. Things will come up over and over. Right now on Big Brand System, I have a quiz that people can do. It's a free quiz so you can figure out your business stage. I call it the Focus Finder quiz. Focus Finder, like your word. And what's been fascinating to me about that is something has come to light that my audience is confused about that I had no idea. I had no idea. But I asked in the survey and they shared that they were confused about it. So I'm thinking about how I can help them in the future. And that's the kind of thing you do. You just listen closely to what people are asking about.
And you ask.
And you ask and then you listen. And it's a matter of, it's a match between what they need and what you can actually produce. So in this case, for example, they're asking about something that I could be helpful about that. So I don't know if I'll produce a full course around it, but it may be something that I add as a bonus to other things that I create. And now I know they're going to be interested in that bonus because everyone has said that they're confused by it. So
that's so yes, one of the things that a lot of people do, and I've been guilty of it, I have done it, is you create the content you think that your people need.
Right.
And even if they do need it, the reality is they might want something else. And so you have to ask, or like, as you say, listen, be out there in places. So when I hear listen, when I hear experts talk about listen to your community, I think a lot of people don't know what that means and don't know how to do it because they're from a generation where listening was something you did by calling people on the phone.
Yeah.
So listening involves today being on social platforms and watching the chatter, maybe having a Facebook group, being on Facebook or whatever. But in the end, when we get to the whole listening thing, Pamela, it becomes part of the overwhelm because there's so many places. Do I listen to all of them? Where do I listen?
I always recommend that you focus on one social platform and make it your primary. And I have a presence on lots of platforms. Big Brand System is on lots of platforms, but I have always chosen one to really focus on, each year. So a couple of years ago, I really focused on developing a presence on Pinterest, which isn't really a social platform. We could talk about that, but it's more of a place to search for content. So,
Right.
but I wanted to develop a presence there. And at this point I have a presence there, and it's not running on autopilot, but it's running mostly on autopilot. It's kind of set up and running. Right now I'm focusing on Instagram. I was focusing on Facebook and now I'm focusing on Instagram. So the beauty of choosing one to really focus on is that you can use that for engagement and really double down and make the most of your time. So what I'm trying to do on Instagram is respond to comments right away, encourage people to direct message me and have conversations with me there. I've started posting videos and people can comment on videos on Instagram, and those comments come in as direct messages. So they feel kind of like they're having a private conversation with you.
Okay.
So I am really enjoying that. It's been a really great place to just engage and interact. And honestly, we talk about social media, and I know it's a struggle for people in our generation, but I think what's happening is so often, or let's say up until now, we've been very focused on the media aspect of social media.
Yeah.
It's like, suddenly I'm a publisher, I'm an advertiser, I am someone who's pushing out marketing messages. And I really want to encourage people to focus on the social aspect, because when you think about it, it is amazing the access that goes both ways. The access that you have to people who you see as thought leaders, you have access to them. You can take a peek into their lives. You can see behind the scenes of what they're working on. You can understand what they're thinking about if you just follow them on social media. Plus, if it's something like Instagram, you can direct message them and they'll have a conversation with you, so there's access to the people you look up to,
Mhm.
but then for people who are out there trying to be thought leaders and share valuable information, there's a lot of access to your audience. You can see what their lives are like. You can hear their questions, understand their confusion, see how they respond to things you post. So you post something about a specific topic. If it gets lots of attention, well, that's data.
That
They're
is.
interested, right?
That
So
is. Yeah,
we didn't used to have that. I mean, we used to have to, competitive research compared to what it used to be is just, it's amazing how much you can understand.
and I think that when you competitive research and when I was looking at your book this morning, the content strategy book, and you talked a little bit about Google Analytics, and a lot of us are afraid of Google Analytics, but in the end, the reality I want people to understand is that these are tools there for you to use, and sometimes there's a little bit of a learning curve, but within your business, you can learn to do these, and
Yes.
and you don't
Well,
need to do them all at once.
right. And the thing to know about Google Analytics is it is not a magic crystal ball that allows you to see and understand your audience completely. Even people who are, in the Google
Yeah,
Analytics
yeah.
world and that's all they do all day long, they won't promise that. I mean, it's not magic, I
Mhm.
actually think having conversations with people is a little bit more magic. It's akin to running a focus group.
I like that.
In the marketing world, we run focus groups. We used to
Yeah.
run focus groups in person, and it used to be very onerous to put those together. And nowadays, you kind of have this ongoing running focus group happening on your social media platform of choice. So,
Right. So I love that you're saying that we can pick a platform, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest, try to be strategic and thoughtful about, is that really where the people you want to meet
yes.
are hanging out? And then pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Give it the attention it deserves, the same way that you would give attention to updating your blog or updating your sales page with
You're going to have a lot more impact if you go deep on one platform rather than just
Mhm.
barely dipping your toe into the water on 5.
Yes. And not to feel the overwhelm. Take the overwhelm out, because what will serve you better is the focus. So
Yes.
and that's, I think it's so enlightening for me, and I hope that everyone watching and the people who land on the page and see this understand that, gosh, you want to make a success of this. Your first step then is to focus on what that all means, and then to be strategic and
Right.
build your tactics.
I want to talk about, do we have time to talk about one
Yes,
more thing?
one more
Yeah,
thing.
because you were asking about how to develop ideas for a
Yes.
course, right? So there, we talked about listening, but there's another aspect of that I would love to share so that people understand this concept. And it's this idea of creating like a minimum viable version of your course before you pour a lot of time and effort into developing something, that takes
Mhm.
a lot of energy and money and time. So when you have a course idea, so let's say you've listened to your audience and they're asking consistently about this one topic, and it's something that you can help with. So you know that this is something that you want to create a course around. What I want to encourage you to do is to develop a course that is very easy to deliver, that can be delivered in a way that doesn't cost you a lot of money. So one thing with my business coaching clients, I really encourage them to use Zoom, which is what you and I are
Right.
using right now. The Zoom platform is economical. You
Yeah.
can deliver content on this platform. It will capture the video, and then you can put the video somewhere where they're protected and sell access. I really recommend that people keep it as simple as possible while they're testing the idea to make sure it actually has legs. one thing that I see happen a lot with people in our age group is we are very capable. We're very capable people. And we tend to develop things, almost overdevelop them before we've tested to see if there's actually a demand for this thing that we feel we want to put out in the world. So I want to encourage people to do that, to really be willing to spend some, let's not say spend, let's say invest some time in developing something minimal but still valuable that you deliver, and you check to make sure that people actually want it. And chances are good that people will want it, but they will also tell you what they need that's different than what you thought they needed. So for example, I have a paid course on creating images, and I delivered that live week after week. I had an outline ahead of time, so I knew basically the knowledge that I wanted to convey to people, but I delivered it week by week. And I was so glad that I did, because in week 1, I delivered what I had planned. And then I got all these questions, and I realized, oh, they need to know X, Y, and Z. And I wasn't even going to cover that. So in week 2, I showed back up and I made sure X, Y, and Z were all covered before I delivered what I had planned to deliver in week 2. So that's the kind of thing you do. You just need to be a little bit agile about it. You make your plans ahead of time, but then you stay flexible so that as you're delivering the information, you are truly meeting the needs of the audience, and not what you think they need, but what they actually need, because that's the way you create a course that people end up loving, because you know for sure that you're meeting their needs.
Yeah, I love that, because what I'm hearing you say is I can create something and deliver it, and then find out from the audience that they needed this over here that I wasn't aware of, but then I build it in. I don't have to say, oh, I failed, I didn't do what I, no, what you say is, this was great, now I know, I created this, they took the course. That's really awesome. And people feel, especially women, I'm sorry, but women do, they feel like, oh, I failed, I didn't do what I was supposed to do, now everybody hates me. Well, no, everybody still loves you. Now they want you to teach them more.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if you do it on a week by week basis, if you go into it and stay very flexible about what you're delivering, then you can meet their needs as you go along. And then when you do create that final polished product, it's based on real students and what they actually need, rather than what you might think you need.
Right. I mean, we all, as you say, we all bring our baggage with us, and
it's good baggage. It's good baggage.
It is good baggage, but our experiences, we bring our knowledge. But again, we're at the end of our talk, and I want to end with the recognition that even we can still learn something, and the best people to learn it from is the people that you're working with, because they will teach you what they need. And then if you can't deliver it, the best thing to do is go get someone who can. And so, Pamela, I want to congratulate you on your 10th anniversary.
Thank you. 10th anniversary of Big Brand System.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very awesome. So everyone, this is a lady who has been around, knows her content development, strategy, marketing, whatever. And I will share all of the ways that you can get in touch with her on YouTube and in the blog post. And Pamela, thank you for being on Smart Woman Conversations.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. It's been an honor. I really appreciate the invite.
We will probably have to do it again sometime.
I would love that.
Awesome.